Welcome back to LTV Lab. Today, we are joined by Dinah Chapman, the founder of Little Trouble. And over a month ago, I placed an e commerce order from Little Trouble. And in this episode, we're going to be breaking down the full customer journey end to end. So, we're going to be walking through the on site shopping experience to the emails that we received over last month to the unboxing experience when we received our product. And ultimately, we're going to be talking about how the brand nurtures customers after their first purchase. So we're going to dig into what the brand is doing incredibly well, and there is a lot of it, and where there might just be untapped opportunity to improve their repeat purchase rate and drive higher customer lifetime value. So, Dinah, before we get into it, welcome to the lab. I would love to give the viewers some context about your story, the brand, and how everything came to be. So, do you mind, Dinah, walking me through a little bit of your background and how Little Trouble came to life?
Yeah, for sure. Thanks so much for having me. Excited, a little nervous, but mostly excited. Um,
Nothing to be nervous about.
and basically, Little Trouble, I've been working on it for 3.5 years now. My background is in building e-com brands. So I've scaled multiple brands from 6 to 7 or even 8 figures. And I had really just like got pregnant and decided like I was going to do something for myself. I found a little niche. I was searching for kids clothes, honestly, when I was in those like late night stages of finding out I was having a boy, and there was nothing that I wanted to buy. And so I was like, okay, this is kind of like one of those opportunities for me to start like an Etsy side hustle was the concept. I was the marketing director for a large skincare company at the time. And yeah, we were bringing them from 8 to 9 figures during that year. So I was like working these crazy hectic hours, had a massive team underneath me, and was like, I wonder if I could use a little of this maternity leave time to start something on my own, which in retrospect is so insane because you have no spare time for yourself when you're on mat leave. This was my first child. Now I have two, so I would never have those same thoughts of like, I'll have free time. But anyways, that was my background. Was I went to fashion school. I worked in marketing. I built several e-com brands under conglomerates for everyone from beauty to fashion. I worked in B2B at a certain time. So this was really like what I had been pursuing for years, and I thought, "Can I do it for myself?" It's kind of what everyone thinks when you're at a certain level working in corporate. And so that's how Little Trouble came to be, was just a need I wanted to fill for myself, a void I saw in the market, and then kind of tripled down on all of my experience. I launched hoodies in the summer and sold out, and then I reinvested and bought more hoodies and sold out again, and then realized like, okay, this has got some legs. There's other parents out there like me who want this type of product, this kind of design aesthetic. And it grew from there, where at a certain point I was like bubbling out of my garage, my living room, shipping containers on my property, and then kind of dove in and it turned into the real deal.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for all that context. One of my favorite parts of hosting LTV Lab is getting to hear all these awesome stories that you're really just not going to pick up looking at someone's LinkedIn page. So that was really interesting. I'm curious to know, well, I'm curious about a lot that you mentioned, but first off, so you had a background in fashion, so you went to fashion school. How integral would you say that experience was in terms of the success that Little Trouble has had so far?
Yeah, I mean, massive, honestly. When I went to fashion school, so I went to fashion marketing and design school. And so I learned everything from like how to pattern make and make tech packs, and then to creating catalogs and marketing strategies. And at the time, it was so interesting because it was the first time where I realized, like in school, I was like, oh, I'm actually going to use every single course I'm taking if I apply my degree to real life. Versus like you could not ask me to do geometry, like it just wouldn't really
Mhm.
plausible in my life. So, yeah, pretty massive. Like even now I look back and when I was making my first round of tech packs, I was like, what would I be doing? And thousands of people do it without that technical experience. But I thought about how grateful I was to have had that background, because there were just these little things I knew to do and ask for, where fingers crossed, I have yet to have, like, a big hiccup when it comes to design and manufacturing. Like, I haven't had any any big problems, and I think I can really thank my degree and my background in fashion design for that. Um, and it gave me the confidence to do it. Like, I didn't hire anyone, it's been just me really hustling and, like, putting my head down and building this myself, and I think that degree and experience gave me the confidence and the technical skill.
Got it. Yeah, I think you're one of the rare people who, like, what you said was interesting. You're going through the classes and thinking like, "Oh, this actually, like, is something I could apply." I think you're one of the few people who did go out and apply it, and that was one of the things that stuck out in the first conversation we had. I do remember that you said that you are a team of one, essentially, especially, like, on the marketing side, and that's just extremely impressive that you've been able to get the company this far, and also just great to hear. I know a lot of people have mixed feelings about like school, especially people who go down the entrepreneurial
Totally.
path. And it's really good to hear that like you got that value. Did you always want to start a brand of your own?
I always had a very entrepreneurial spirit. Like, when I was a kid, I would draw like, I was into basketball, and my brother was diagnosed celiac, and so I'd, like, drew a basketball-themed restaurant that was very, allergen friendly, and, like, I made a whole business plan and, like, showed my brother, and I was like, "I'm gonna open up a basketball-themed restaurant, and we're gonna serve you gluten-free food," and, like, um, yeah, so I've had, like, a million business ideas since I was a little kid, but always just a hustler. Like, I was the last one out on the golf cart all night selling, like, wrapping paper, Girl Scout cookies, gift wrap, magazines. Like, I was just always hustling and, like, trying to sell a product and build a business for myself from as early as I can remember. So, I knew it would happen eventually if I trusted myself. I think the farther into my professional career I got working for other people, I've always worked for founder-led brands. Even in footwear, I worked for a conglomerate of, like, influencer and private label founder-led brands. And so I think there could have been a path I had taken that wasn't entrepreneurial for myself because I got very used to this, like, recipe I'd almost created of, like, come in, change this, hire this, build out this, and that had been working for me really successfully. I'd done that through 3 different companies. So I think if I hadn't had the, like, pregnancy, it was COVID, we weren't in the office, and it just kind of sparked this, like, "Ooh, I have some time." So I think, like, all the doors opened at the right time, stars aligned, whatever you'd wanna call it, to where I decided to invest in myself. So I always wanted to, but whether I would have ever made the leap without everything that played out the way it did, I'm not sure.
Yeah, well, I'm happy the stars aligned and we're sitting here today. Um, I'm really curious, Dinah. So you mentioned at the beginning that one of the reasons like you started the brand was because you realized like you were looking for clothes when you realized you're having a boy. You just couldn't find anything in the market that like excited you or like filled the need, I guess, that you had. Um, can you speak a little more to like what you were looking for specifically, and I guess like what you found that maybe like came close, or did like nothing come close to what you were looking for?
Yeah, I loved, like, a few T-shirts from Vans for toddler boys, or and obviously the shoe market is kind of fun, like, all the cool brands and skate brands and stuff make baby and toddler shoes. But I could only find, like, a few graphic tees or, like, maybe 1 hoodie that I liked, and some of the, like, the surf brands had, like, floral button-ups for toddlers, but that wasn't really my style. I was looking for something that essentially, I wanted to buy, like, my husband's wardrobe that I have crafted for him over time in a mini version, and it was really hard to find this, like, cool, um, a little edgy alternative, especially in the cut and the fit. I found that for a lot of boys, it was, like, a very generic, like, almost like fitted t-shirt with,
Mhm.
a truck on it or something like a big dinosaur or like "Hear me roar," and I was like, they're cute for infants, but I was really looking for, if I could just clone my husband and, like, shrink his wardrobe down, can I find it? And I couldn't. And I felt like there was such an opportunity for that because there's a lot of people who, especially like matching mommy and me is like such a thing and such a trend, but it's very focused on the girls market. And I was like, there's this opportunity for like matching mini me with, like, an edgier, like, millennial parent. There are, like, sweaters and, a little more of the, like, Christmas card look for kids, but there wasn't, like, an edgier option, and it had to look the part, but it had to be soft, functional, easy to wear, roam around, and durable, like, there were all these other things that had to have been part of the actual garment. So, yeah, I found a few T-shirts, but that was kind of it.
Okay, super interesting. I'm curious to know, and it's kind of like leans into the next question I have. Um, how much like customer research did you do versus leaning on like the gut feeling of like, I want this, so there must be others that want this? And that ties into my question that I had written down, which is like, who do you see as the core customer demo today?
Yeah, going into it, I did very little customer research. I had some designs, and I kind of like surveyed it amongst my friends and family. But I was one of the only people in my friend circle to have kids at the time or going into like a motherhood, parenthood journey. So, of course, all my friends were like, oh my God, it's so cute. But hard to say, like, would you buy this? Are you looking for this, etc. So I really, really trusted my gut on the original collection and launch. And I even had a lot of people actually tell me not to do it. I had very few people encouraging the concept and the idea, and a lot of people being like, are you sure? Even the brand name, so many people being like, "But trouble. No one wants their kid associated with the word trouble." And I was like, "I don't agree with," and these were, people in my circle who were a little bit older, my parents and, some other people in my corporate mentors, and then I had some people be like, "Oh my god, that's so sick. Like, how fun. What a cool spin on, like, what we would traditionally think is troublesome." So I actually had more people vetoing the concept than I did endorsing and or supporting my ideas. But everyone in my life who knew me was like, if anyone's gonna do this part-time and scale it, it's gonna be you. And so I had like all of that type of support, but conceptually with the clothes and the name and stuff, I really trusted my gut. And I still do. Like to this day, I design things for literally versions of myself. Like if because I fit a very specific demo. I'm a millennial parent, I'm a boy mom, I love being outside. My kids are into like action sports, moto stuff. My husband builds bikes, rides dirt bikes, into cars, very connected in that world. And so I'm literally designing for versions of myself. I've like created a customer profile based off of me and my interests. And that has served me really well. And I think part of that as I scale is it is a very like founder led, face led brand. I'm in the content, my kids are in the content, the customers know my name. I'm in the ad content, you see me on the site, etcetera. And so they hear it from me, they watch me styling it. Like I think it's stayed very authentic and I live the lifestyle. So I still design to my preference, and like what I would wanna see in the market, but now we've built out a lot of other versions of our customer, that we have beyond like who what I think is cool, but that's kind of how I started, and I trusted my gut like 110%.
Okay. I think, I mean, it probably sounds cliche at this point, but like it's such a good lesson for all entrepreneurs or wannabe entrepreneurs, just in terms of like knowing who you are, what you want, and what like the market lacks, and knowing that like there's 8 billion people on this planet. It's very unlikely that you're the only one that wants something. And I think like that the big lesson really is when you're talking about other people like trying to maybe turn you in a different direction to like fit a more traditional mold of like what a brand maybe should be. Like that's exactly where the market obviously has opened for you, which is like becoming the brand that others are maybe too scared to be. And obviously, like you found that demo. I'm curious to know, like when you say you are like looking to a few more, like open up to a few more demos now, has that emerged like specifically on the business side, like trying to expand the like TAM, I guess you could call it, or has that been more of like you exploring your own style in like a different way?
Little bit of a mix, more on what the business has shown me. So as we've been scaling, I saw this like really interesting opportunity, which was grandparents or older caregivers, and they were commenting on all my Facebook posts and Facebook ads. And I was seeing like pictures of my grandkids look so cute in this, love this for my grandson, buying this for my granddaughter. And it was so prevalent for a few months. I was like, okay, we've got like an older demo now that I can speak to. And so then we started making like a lot of variations of ads or creatives that were speaking to grandparents. Like, um, and capitalizing off of trends that talk about grandparents. And so that was some really fun stuff. And that opened up this like whole buyer segment for us of like the coolest button up or grandma's never seen a button up this cool. Like stuff like that to where we were literally speaking to grandparents in our ad content and or in our marketing strategy. And now they're like almost a one for one demo, which is actually so crazy. Grandparents and older gift givers. And they're very, which is so contrary to what I would have believed because you could not give my mom a phone and tell her to post something on my Instagram page with a picture. Like it just wouldn't, she would be like, how, where, I don't get it. So that was
Yeah.
contrary what I would have believed was gonna be very popular. But now the more we played into it, there is this, like, really large demo of tech savvy grandparents who love to post and talk to each other in my comments about the clothes they're buying, which is so fun. I have these, like, versions of, like, sub forums in my ad comments or my organic post comments only on Facebook. Not on Instagram is a totally different community, but on Facebook, and they're commenting back and forth what they got for their grandkids. They're asking about the quality. They're like, they're so funny. Like this, if you want me to come back to you and tell you how my order was. Like, it's so fun. And so that's like what that was the biggest eye opener. And then we've had other versions of that. And I found it through like the customer service inbox, through comments, really just like not surveying the audience, but I'm listening to the audience and, like, listening to my customers, and I started to just pick up these, like, cues of, like, "Okay, you're buying this," or I started to get a ton of, like, birthday photos comments. "I'm taking birthday pictures, I'm doing this," like, themes, and so I was like, "Okay, another way to talk in my ad content or in my strategy of, like, first birthday picture outfit on lock," or "Check out my second birthday pictures," and it's, like, all checkers. So just like listening and kind of seeing like what's hitting different audiences has been how I've kind of scaled like who my demos are. But yeah, and then personally, my style evolves kind of always, but it's still very like in line with the vibe and the whole kind of aesthetic of the brand. So I just keep trying to, like, push the boundaries a little bit, find my boundary. I just released, like, a really fun hoodie that says "bitchin" on it, and I was, like, so hesitant in the beginning. I posted a, Instagram carousel set of 9
Mhm.
photos, 3 in one outfit, 3 in a different outfit, 3 in a third outfit, and the bitchin hoodie was the 3rd set. And so I, like, really tried to work it in there at the end,
Yeah.
and immediately, that 3rd outfit, that blue hoodie, like, "Where's that one?" And I was like, "Okay, they like it." And so, that was one of those things where I was like, "Where's the boundary? Do you guys like this the way I do?" Because for me, I'm like, I use the word bitchin' in my normal vernacular, like, and being a kid is, like, kinda bitchin', like, there what else is there? And it's, like, a fun, playful word, but that was so that I'm kind of always just, like, finding where the brand can go, what people love, and that was one of those things where I designed that for me, because I would buy a hoodie for my kid if I saw it, and I was like, "I bet you there's a lot of other people like me who would wanna buy that hoodie."
For sure. And I think like especially in apparel where like if you want to stand out, like you have to do something different. I completely understand like that hesitancy and fear of like, is this going to alienate some of the people who like the brand? But like once you do figure out who you're speaking to, like the more you can not be afraid to speak to that person, the more you're going to build a base of super fans versus just like having people live on the surface. So that's awesome. I think like the other major takeaway there, because like I talk to brands of all sizes all the time, and like the truth is, even at the size you're at, like a lot of people are quick to like hire an agency to like manage their like paid ads, which maybe you have at this point. But like once they do that, it like removes you from looking at the comments on those ads, and it removes you from like looking at all of these data points which you're using extremely intentionally to like figure out how people are reacting to different messaging, what they want. So yeah, like another huge lesson and win for you in that column, just like being really close to the customer at this point.
Yeah.
um Dinah, I'm curious to know, how do you think about the role that email and SMS are playing in the business right now to like number one, drive retention, but number two, like just help the business grow overall?
Yeah, good question, and when you reached out, I was like, "Yeah, this is, like, probably a very applicable conversation for Little Trouble," because we are a very socially driven brand. I've grown the business on organic socials, Instagram and TikTok, and, I have mixed feelings about email versus SMS, starting with SMS as, like, the smaller portion of the conversation. I feel like in the beginning, I utilized it, almost 50-50 for on-demand and behavioral messaging, but I didn't see performance. It was expensive. Of course, it had, like, the vanity metrics, like, it had high open rates and higher click-through rates than my email, but I wasn't seeing it driving, like, meaningful revenue, and it was an expensive channel to run. I think at that
Mhm.
time, probably a little premature for the split I had of 50-50. I had a relatively small list at the time compared to, and I wasn't really doing much like list nurturing at that point for SMS specifically. I was really focused on like followers and growing my organic socials.
Mhm.
And so I kind of abandoned SMS, to be honest, for like a year and a half. Um,
Okay.
and was like, okay, I'm just going to go more towards organic social. And of course, email was it's been a back burner kind of initiative for me in the sense of bandwidth. So, as we talked in the
Sure.
beginning, I've been a one person team for a very long time. I actually did test 2 email agencies, which is interesting, in the early phases of Little Trouble, and neither of them could outperform my own email design and segmentation and sending cadence. And so it obviously was not a meaningful partnership for me, and we amicably parted ways. I had one of them be like, "We can't drive more revenue for you, so this is irrelevant for us." They were one of those agencies that has the, like, "If we don't do X in 90 days, you blah, blah, blah,
For
blah, blah."
sure.
And that was like, oh, they never expect to have to call you and tell you that. So, we were all, like, waiting, like, me and them, we were kinda waiting for that convo. Um, but so that was, and to, you know, clarity or context, we were a much smaller brand and different scaling size back then. But so I've just since then tested it twice, and I was like, "All right, I've been burned twice." Email agencies are also very expensive. Like, I've worked in e-com for 13 years now, and they're actually one of the agencies I rarely onboard for any size brand. Like, previously, it was an 8-figure brand, and we weren't,
Mhm.
utilizing email agencies. So, I yeah, that's been the experience in the past, and then how I view it and or use it, I have had a bandwidth bottleneck problem, so I mostly do launches, restocks, like, very intentional and, like, conversion-driven emails, but very little on the nurturing end. So, there was, like, a welcome flow set up, and then drops and restocks. And so they had high click through, high open, and a really healthy, nice revenue associated, but it only during those like big drop and restock moments. So that has kind of shifted strategy a little bit. In intention, strategy has shifted a lot. Like, it has to be a large focus as we continue to scale. We're having like, once I started having my first, like, six-figure days, I was like, "Okay, like, my list is growing rapidly." Like, going into Black Friday was crazy. We did, like, some list growth strategies and lead gen strategies going into, like, our biggest sale. So now I'm looking at it as a retention play because I have created those, like, super fans, kind of like you were talking about. And so now and we've also transitioned. A lot of people don't follow us on social, or they don't know me from social now. They know us from they got an ad or word of mouth and they placed an order. They haven't been like following me in my story. So we have a
Yeah.
much broader list now and a different person on the email list that I do have to nurture. And Black Friday was like so wild for us in terms of new customer acquisition. So now is like really my time to nurture those people post first purchase.
Yeah, 100%. And I became one of those first purchasers. So we'll walk through my journey in a minute. But yeah, you point out some like interesting things there. I would say, um, yeah, like there's a lot that we could unpack. But on the email SMS side of things, like for any brands watching this, I think like the experience that you had, Dinah, is a really common one where like you send out SMS campaigns expecting to see like potentially like higher revenue, higher ROI than you would via email. But like the truth is, SMS is really, really profitable at like only a few places in the customer journey and like with only a few types of campaign messages. So like throughout the customer journey, like where SMS is extremely profitable is like in a nurture sequence, like after someone signs up, those first few days, getting them to convert at like points in the funnel, like an abandoned cart, abandoned browse, abandoned checkout. And then in terms of campaigns, the only two places I've ever seen it be like consistently profitable for apparel and very profitable is new product drops and promotions. So like anything outside of that, it's very hard, especially like as you do have a growing list, to run a profitable SMS campaign. But at those two times, like the way that I kind of describe it in a nutshell is like anytime you really want 100% open rate on something. So like if you're launching a new product and you want 100% of your like engaged fans eyeballs on that, ideally like you're sending that as an SMS versus an email where like best case scenario you have perfect deliverability, maybe you'll see a 60% open rate, you know? So definitely I would like push you and everyone else watching this to like continue growing their SMS list. And of course like nurturing it to the best of your ability because like you said, like when you ignore it for like a year, let's say, like everyone who signed up is going to be lapsed at that point. Like they're no longer engaged with the brand. So like coming up with something to say, especially like as a brand that does have new products, like sending out an SMS like once a month just to keep people in the mix, is going to lead to you seeing really, really strong ROI from those campaigns that are new product launches or promotions, like BFCM, where like you do want those 100% open rates essentially and eyeballs on it. But yeah, I agree with you. Email agencies are expensive. Sorry to hear about that kind of waste of time with those guarantee agencies. Um, yeah, I like to say it like classic saying, the only thing guaranteed in life is death and taxes. Definitely not better email revenue. But I think it does lead to like the uh, conclusion, really, that like most email agencies, quote unquote, are kind of like deliverables agencies. Like they focus on like copywriting and design. And like what we're going to talk about, like when we look at the customer journey, is really just like how can we generate like more revenue with these channels. So I want to point that out. And then the last thing is for sure like people group in email and SMS as channels as like retention channels, but they can be so powerful like on the acquisition side too. And we'll look at like exactly where that can be. So without further ado, happy to turn this over to our experience shopping from Little Trouble. Okay, so basically a little over 30 days ago, at the beginning of November, we placed our first order from Little Trouble. And I'm always curious to just see what ads are being run in the Facebook ads library. So that's where I started my journey, just to kind of look at it from the eyes of a typical customer who might see an ad and head over to the website. So the ad that like caught my attention the most were these best-selling overalls. And for anyone watching this, if this is your first time hearing about Little Trouble, discovering the brand, Dinah spoke about the like unique style, but honestly, like these are the cutest kids' clothes I've ever seen in my life, and I think I'd be hard pressed to like ever find another brand that can compete on like the cuteness scale here. And when you said like I wish I could just like shrink my husband's wardrobe down and have that be my kid's wardrobe, like that is like in one sentence, I think what you've been able to accomplish when I look at this. So yeah, just like overall, if anyone's watching this and wants to get adorable clothing for their kids, head over to Little Trouble. But this was the ad that caught my eye, like the best-selling overalls. So like I clicked on the shop now button in the ad, just as any other person at the top of your funnel would who was seeing this on either Facebook or Instagram. Land on the overalls page. I looked around for a bit. I was shopping for my nephew, who is 4 years old, and basically just like headed over to the bestsellers page right after this, kind of just like poke around, see what the website had to offer. I noticed on this page, Dinah, so the first page I landed on overalls, there was no pop-up form to collect email or SMS. I don't know if that's just like I didn't receive the pop-up, or is there no pop-up set up?
You should have. It should have populated gosh, mine does all the time, even though because I'm a super user, so even though I am on the list. But yeah, you should have received a pop-up, and it's a
Okay.
two-step.
It's a two-step email, SMS, and what's the incentive that you're offering?
The first time discount is 15% off, which is
Okay.
more than you'll ever see other than Black Friday.
More than you'll ever see other than Black Friday. Okay, got it. That makes sense.
Oh,
And are
weird.
you collecting any? Sorry?
I said, "But weird that you didn't get it."
It is weird. What platform are you using?
For, on-site capture, I use Wonderkind.
Oh, that's your pop-up app that you
Yeah,
use?
so I like, my ESP is through everything's through Klaviyo, but I use
Yeah.
Wonderkind as, like, the identity network, so they actually physically power the pop-up, and then their integration with Klaviyo, like, populates all of the lists, so it's odd that you didn't
I am
get it.
in Canada. So like the reason I asked is just because like I know from past experience, like Attentive specifically, if American brands like are running their pop-up through Attentive, it can sometimes not show up in Canada unless it's like configured that way. That could be the reason. Not sure.
Yeah,
But good to know that you do have.
the
Go ahead.
two-step phone number, so if you were already on the list, through another means, the
Mhm.
typically just the phone number pop-up would populate to try to get you on that list as well, and that wouldn't show up on its own in Canada, but the two-step should. Um,
Okay.
so I'm
But
gonna check
even
out.
today, like yeah, I went back to the site today, just to check it out. Like I went on incognito mode and I didn't see it again today. So I would check on it just to see if it's firing properly. But I'm just happy that you do have it. And for anyone watching, I've mentioned it on other episodes of LTV Lab at this point, but this is where like attention turns to like email and SMS for acquisition versus retention. Because obviously, like at the end of the day, like if you or a brand like Little Trouble like is running paid ads, you just want to make sure that like every dollar you put in is going as far as possible. And one of the best ways to do that is to make sure you're capturing as much of your site traffic and turning it into email and SMS subscription, so that you can basically retarget them much more effectively and cost efficiently compared to more paid ads. So I didn't think you had a pop up, but I'm happy to hear that you do.
It's so weird. I'm gonna follow up about maybe it's you being in Canada, which it shouldn't be, but I just went incognito and I got it right away.
That's so strange. It must be
Yeah,
Canada then. It's
so
the only thing I
weird.
can think of.
Would well,
Yeah.
you ship to Canada, so
Yeah. Okay. Um, okay, so after going to the overalls page, I head over to best sellers, and somewhere on this page is where I saw these plaid flannel cozy cargos, and I was obsessed as soon as I saw them. Like perfect example of like I've tried shopping for my 4-year-old nephew before, and like I don't necessarily have skater style. I don't have like the most out there style, but I just find like clothes for toddlers pretty boring on the most part. And this is something I would buy for myself. So like I saw this and I was hooked, needed it. So I went ahead and picked up a pair of the 4T pants. I had an issue with the like saving the screenshot, so I went ahead and took like these today, Dinah, which is why you see this different pair of pants over here. But I did notice that like you have a cart page versus a drawer when someone adds to cart. And I was just wondering if that's something you've A/B tested.
Are these from today, or you're saying these are your older screenshots? And was that your experience when you purchased?
These are from today.
Yeah, we do have a I just tested it as well, and it's not drawer. We use Rebuy,
Okay.
for the drawer cart, but there are a lot of, bugs lately with Rebuy. So if it doesn't Rebuy, I'm assuming you're very familiar, but everything has to load prior to Rebuy's cart. Like Rebuy's cart loads supposedly instantaneously, not always. If you click cart before the rebuy cart has loaded, it will default and send you to the native cart. But if you let it load and then hit cart, it gives you the side cart. So this is a like foolproof to at least enable you to check out. But if you let rebuy load for 1.5 seconds or whatever, um, like on my end right now, there's the side cart.
Okay, so typical user behavior would be like when someone clicks add to cart, it would open the side cart.
Yes. I feel like you're having a very
Interesting.
odd Canadian experience, which I need to look into, but yeah, on my end right now, there's a pop-up and there's a rebuy cart.
Okay, very interesting. Um, in this scenario, which is obviously like less important if the standard experience is the drawer, I noticed that like in checkout, which is like the next step in the funnel here, you do have, is this from Rebuy as well?
Yeah, so all of those widgets are powered from rebuy, so you're just missing the, like, very easy, simple user experience by engaging with the
Mhm.
side.
Okay, got it. Um, I would say like in case like my experience wasn't like a one-off and other people are
Totally.
landing here, it'd probably be a good idea to like have the rebuy widget there as well, just because I think this is really powerful at checkout. I'm sure you have the data to back up how powerful it is in terms of like people adding these additional products on. But overall, like very smooth checkout experience outside of that. And I do believe that like in my original shopping experience, I did see the drawer because I don't remember
That's right,
calling
okay.
this out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
a very odd
Um,
thing that happens with the loading speed. It's something that we're working on, a lot with Rebuy right now too, but we're also redesigning the site. It's been the same for 3.5 years, so I'm very excited about that. And a huge, initiative is site speed. This site, the theme we're working on is 3.5 years old, and so oftentimes if, like, anything is lagging or anything's having a site speed issue, it then impacts how quickly other things can load, and the cart is one of those things. Um, so yeah, this is great feedback, especially knowing you're in Canada. So I've already like made like slacks I'm about to send over to rebuy.
and are you, Dinah, also managing like all of your CRO and website, everything
I
yourself?
just brought on a web agency in the last like 6 weeks. So I'd been like kind of holding off. I'd had a developer friend who helped me build out the site in the beginning, but was never like a retainer client or anything. So had no
Yeah.
one doing that for the first several years. And then we just started to like functionality and requirements wise, like outgrow my abilities. And so I'd been
Got it.
looking for an agency for a while, just brought one on. And we've unfortunately discovered that the theme is much more fragile than we anticipated as we started doing like normal maintenance and cleanup. So we were in like full triage mode going into Black Friday, just trying to make sure the site was as fast and functional as possible. Um, So, yes, these are not issues I have never heard of, but the fact that you're in Canada and have had these 2 anomalies, I'm very interested.
Okay. Bad look for Canada, but happy
Bad
we
look
can bring
for
it to your
us, though,
attention.
really, we have a lot of Canadian customers, so
Do you really? I figured it wouldn't be that big of a demo for you guys. You do?
yeah, yeah, we have a lot of and I think that's from organic social more so than, our paid efforts because we only really run paid in the US, but a
Okay.
lot of our organic community is in Canada.
Got it. Okay, cool. Interesting. Cool. So we're gonna skip a step here, but we will see why in a few minutes. And I'm just gonna walk through the like unboxing experience at this point once I did receive my order. So the order was shipped in a plastic slash poly bag. And honestly, your branding is really, really strong. So this is one of the things that like we talk about often on LTV Lab, which is like when it comes down to the unboxing experience, it's usually just a function of like reality minus expectations. And if I'm not ordering from like what I presume to be like a premium brand, then my expectations are basically like just get me the product I ordered in good shape. It's like it's not broken, it's not like stained in the case of apparel, and like I'm happy. Like that's basically it. And just like a branded poly bag like this goes such a long way in making your initial reaction, because this is something that like is so important to understand about like not only apparel, but I think like specifically like with brands that we've worked with, like along the lines of like apparel and accessories. This is your first ever interaction with the brand face to face. So like you are seeing the images and ads, you're seeing images in emails, you're seeing the product images on site, but like shopping for clothing is a pretty like intimate experience, I would say, where like you want to touch something with your hand, like you want to see the quality like right up front, and you are basically just trusting that the brand is going to give you the quality that they're saying that they're going to give you up until the point that it like lands in your hands. And while I'm like very curious to know if like you're surprised at the level of uh like I guess feeling that I have towards this or not, in terms of like how you went about putting your packaging together, but just the little accent I would say of like having a branded poly bag like this instead of just like what I would have expected probably to just be like plastic non-branded and like would have not thought much of, really just like takes me to the next level of respect and um I guess the right word is probably like uh just like value, in terms of like how much I valued the brand and the product before I even opened it. And then like when I did open it, like the product quality is amazing. So like I know for a fact, I'm quite certain that like that's not a surprise to you. Like the product quality is excellent. But it was really like the branded poly bag and then like the free stickers that you included, which like my nephew loved, that I just like really, really respected and enjoyed as a first time customer who like didn't expect that. And that's just where like brands like don't have to go above and beyond. I think there's like typically a thought process of like we don't want to like put too much budget into this, and we don't know if it's gonna have like an incremental return compared to doing things that like aren't branded. And this is an experience where I can say as a customer, like it did immediately raise the value that I associated with the brand as a whole.
Oh, cool. That's so awesome to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I went about the packaging, it's so funny. That was like I one of the most important things to me was the packaging and how it would look when the person received it from their mailbox or from their doorstep. I think a big part of that was my background in coming, especially at the time I was coming from beauty, where packaging and opening experience are everything. And so I wanted to make sure, and I have 3 iterations of that exterior poly bag. I've got the bright green one that says, like, on the front, I think it says, like, "Smile, rad clothes inside." And then I have a black one that says the same thing in different font, and then I have a white one with, like, crazy flames on it. So I
Mhm.
made these 3 versions also so I could always see it. Like, I wanted it to be so identifiable for me and customers that, like, when I was tagged in a picture or I saw, an influencer, PR haul or packaging unboxing, I wanted to be like, "That's Little Trouble."
Mhm.
And so I did the exterior mailer for that reason, and I wanted them to get it and be like, "Oh, yeah, like, my Little Trouble package is here." And then the interior stuff, yeah, I just wanted to make sure, like, everything the minute you took it out, you were, like had that, like, "Oof, this is gonna be good, like, I wanna open this experience." And the sticker sheet, I originally just had a thank you card when I first launched, so, like, way back 3.5 years ago. The flip side of that is my thank you card, and it was just that. And then I had, made some stickers, and I was including, like, one-off stickers, and I was like, "Wait, there's a smarter, better way to do this. I can do a two-in-one, they get more stickers, and it doubles as my thank you card," just like, efficiency at scale. Um,
Yes.
then I when I the reason I did it is one of those things with the customer inbox, like I was talking about earlier. I started seeing people putting their stickers, they were collecting their stickers from my orders when I was sending one-offs, and they were putting them on their kids' water bottles or like on their helmets. And I was like, "Oh, they love the stickers." So I was like, "I should make cooler stickers that you actually want that aren't all Little Trouble branded," because there's only so many Little Trouble logos you're gonna put on your helmet. You're gonna put
Right.
one and done. So I was like, "Wait, I need to make cool stickers," and they're gonna put them all over their helmets and all over their water bottles, and they're gonna be like walking advertisements, and I'm gonna see it in content on random accounts, and I'm gonna be like, "Oh, that's a Little Trouble sticker on their skateboard," or whatever. And then I started getting tagged so much in the sticker sheet. Everyone was going wild for the sticker sheet. And so then I started making versions of the sticker. So it's been an evolution of the sticker sheet. And then it influenced 3 of my best-selling products. So it's been that little sticker sheet has done a lot for the business.
Hey, wow, I didn't expect there to be that much, like, lore behind the sticker sheet, but that's
Me
awesome.
People
Uh,
love stickers.
yeah, 100, and it's just an example of, like, something that is not high cost, but goes a long way, and I think, like, there's so much that any brand can take away from that. It just takes, like, some creativity in terms of, like, what is it for our brand that's gonna be able to deliver that experience at a low cost? Yeah.
The cost is
Cool,
so low.
so
Like, I don't look at it as a,
right.
like, what's my ROI on that? To me, it's like, that's a low cost thing I can do that someone kids love stickers. If the parents something I brought over from, like, I was a server, and, like, all people should work in the service industry, in my opinion, at one point in their lives. I was a
Yeah.
server for a while, and all I had to do to be good at that job when I had families come in was take care of the kids. You get the kids set up with, like, they get their drinks first, they get their coloring, and they get their crayons, and then the parents get a beer or a drink or whatever they want, and, like, you're good. Like, you're pretty golden in this family's eyes now as long as you don't, like, fully fuck up their order or their food
Yeah.
doesn't come at all. Like, you take care of the kids first, and the rest is solid, and the parents get a drink. And that's, like, what I do with this. You set the kids up, like, they get the sticker sheet, and they're happy, and the parents are so happy because there's something additional for the kids, and it's, like, that same concept, and so I just wanted to, like, take care of the kids, um, and because the parents are the ones buying the clothes. Of course, they're for the kids, but they could buy them from anywhere. The parents are buying what they want,
Right.
and so you take care of them with the quality and the design, and then you take care of the kids with the stickers or whatever else that they would want.
That's such a good take. Yeah, like, I'm just thinking back to when I gave it to my nephew, like, he was way happier about the stickers than the pants. Like, his
Yeah,
mom was happy about the pants, but he was happy about the stickers. That's a really good point, that I didn't really think
yeah.
of
They
until
don't even
now.
wanna try on the pants at that point. They're, like,
Right.
gone, and they've
Right.
got stickers, and they're putting them on something immediately.
Right. Wow, interesting. Cool. Also completely agree, everyone should work in the service industry. I worked as a busboy, never graduated to server, but it was very formative for me
You
too,
have
for
to do
sure.
it. Everyone's gotta do
Got
it.
it. You gotta. Okay, so now we're going to get into the email side of customer journey. What you're going to see here, Dinah, are just a bunch of sticky notes that we'll kind of walk through as we're going through this. Basically, these are a compilation of our unique lifecycle marketing expertise. Like we've sent over 1 billion emails, generated over $50 million in email revenue, combined with our unique experience as customers of the brand. And basically, either going to point out like some things that we feel could have been opportunities to like drive additional engagement, conversions, or just other maybe conversational points that will spark something. Sound good?
Yeah, great.
Cool. Okay, so basically, order was placed on November 2nd, and the first email we received was this order confirmation from Shopify. Now, this might not look like anything special if like to anyone who's watching this, but the one thing that any Shopify brand will be able to tell right away is like this is not the typical font that exists within like Shopify's order confirmations. Why does that matter? I've mentioned this on previous episodes, but when I just get a regular like order confirmation email that looks the same from every Shopify store, I literally just like skip over it. Like I open it, I see it's an order confirmation, and I just like click out and go to my next email. As soon as you have something different, which is like, oh, right away, like the font is different. Like that basically in my brain, like required me to pay attention to look to actually like read the sentence, which I otherwise would not have done. So I think like that's number one, a really great touch that a lot of other brands can learn from. And then number two, like once I was reading, I noticed that like you had the estimated delivery time, which like I didn't need to click out to see, which I also think is a really good customer experience touch that I have not seen a lot of other brands do. So definitely like big kudos on that. Yeah. Later this day. Okay. So this is a big one. And I actually just like want to touch on this first. So you have a loyalty program, Dinah. Um, and what you're doing well here is making the fact that you have a loyalty program actually be known. So a lot of other brands, what they'll do, and we've seen this on other episodes, is they'll like send a thank you for your first purchase email and just like bury their loyalty program like somewhere at the bottom of the email. I think the fact that your like entire email is about the loyalty program forces people to like understand that you have a loyalty program, and that's like checkbox like number one checked, which a lot of brands miss out on. So that is like what is really strong here. Now, what is not really strong here, and I can cut this out of the episode if you don't want this to be seen, but the only thing that's linked in this email is the logo. So like none of like when I click on like the login button here, like what happens is like it's just like a download thing. So like this doesn't actually get like doesn't click out to anywhere. The same thing for
Weird.
like this second one over here.
They're missing their
This
links.
yeah, they're missing the links, but like the worst thing here is the only thing that is linked is the logo, Little Trouble, and it actually links to a different website, which is the loyalty program page for a different company. So like this is where it links when
God,
you click on that
Yotpo did
page.
it. I was like, I knew I wouldn't have missed links.
They set this whole email up.
Yeah, Yotpo always does the linking.
Okay, huge lesson for
Oh my gosh,
anyone
how
watching this. So I have like I think Yotpo's a solid company. But like the lesson here is whether it's Yotpo or any other SaaS or any agency, literally anyone who's touching your emails, no one is going to care about them as much as you are as a brand. So whether you're watching this and you are a founder or you're watching this and you're a marketing manager, like someone at the brand, and we require this as an agency, like we
yeah,
try our best not to make mistakes like this. And I can say with like 99.9% certainty that we don't, but we require someone from the brand to check these to make sure that everything is good. Because this, I don't know how many people have received this email, Dinah, over the course of the last, I don't know how many like months it's been
I
live
can
for.
tell you,
Um,
I'm gonna like it.
so yeah, basically like zero people have been able to actually like click out to the portal. And I don't know how many people have like clicked to see that like it's going to a different company entirely, but obviously like not ideal customer experience wise.
Yeah, I'm shocked.
I'm okay. So you're using Yotpo's loyalty program, but synced through Klaviyo.
Yep. Yeah, all of
Got
the
it. Okay.
sends go through Yotpo. Like all of the sends go through Klaviyo. I think for all of their or like whoever you use, they're getting rid of their email provider
Yes.
or like whatever anyways. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's so crazy. But I obviously should have tested them. So that's on me. But
You have a
yeah,
lot to do though. Like I definitely am going to assign blame to whoever set this up in the first place. But yeah, I think the broad.
totally.
I'm surprised you haven't gotten any customer service emails about this though.
0.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving on. Like the other thing, obviously, like none of this is linked. But outside of the fact that it's not linked, like I am a pretty busy person, and like depending on when I received this email, I probably was not going to click out to like log in to the portal regardless. And I think like what would have been good for me to see here, like are the benefits of the loyalty program. So like how do I earn points? Like how do I redeem points? What can I redeem them for? I think like would be very good for me to understand here without having to like go somewhere else at this point. And then the last thing here, this is especially like useful for apparel. So we've like A/B tested this to death across every type of niche, but it's really like strong for apparel. There's so much value in immediate cross-selling. So I know you're doing it in the cart, you're doing it at checkout. I don't know if you have like I didn't see it, if you have a like post-purchase upsell app, like directly after purchase. But in one of these first emails right after, like this could absolutely benefit for of like a widget to basically say like earn 1 point for every dollar, just as an example, like go shop our other best sellers at this point instead of just like a login CTA.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep, totally.
cool. Okay, next day, November 3rd. I love how like on brand your copy is at every touch point. So that's another thing like I noticed right away, which does a really good job of just like building brand 100%. So the order was on its way. And then next day on the 4th, I got a Shop Our Bestsellers email. I don't know if this is a flow email or if it was just a campaign I was getting. I assume probably campaign. But the first thing here, this is like a something that can be A/B tested, but just from like my customer experience, my like assumption right away was that like based on the visual, it was highlighting the fact that like there are matching like toddler and parent tees or apparel, and it just linked out to like the homepage where like I noticed on the site you have like a matching adult collection page, which I think like would have been like a preferable landing page for me here. But that's like the main thing that I noted as a customer. And then the other thing here, this is a big takeaway for any brands watching this, and this is like something that we have started doing for all of our clients, is there's something called dynamic blocks in Klaviyo or like universal content blocks. And essentially, like the way dynamic blocks work is you can show one block to one person and without having to send a different campaign in the same campaign, someone else is going to see a different block based on like a property that exists for them. So over here, like this is such a good use case for using dynamic blocks because like I'm already in the loyalty program. So like I don't need to like sign up to start earning rewards. And instead, like what could be shown to me at this point is a reminder of like how many points I currently have. So that's why I said I'm assuming it's a campaign because like in the flow, it comes after the point where like you've let me know I have the points already. Um, but it is something that like requires additional work, I would say, to sign up. But because I did notice like you are including it at different places, I just think like being intentional with the specific messaging that's there and having something that is like going to be more relevant to like where I am in the journey um, is ideal. And then like the last part here is like you are including examples here. I'm not 100% sure if these are like grouped into the loyalty messaging where it's like free shipping on orders over $100, refer your homies. I assume it's not completely tied in. Um,
You're set like all set
but this is
benefits. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So yeah, this is an example of like hypothetically, if like free shipping on orders of over $100 was what I would get as like part of the loyalty program, that's like the type of thing that I like would showcase here. But I am now realizing that like this is just like a general USPs. Yeah.
What's interesting is that
Um,
this is technically email 2 in the welcome flow, but it seems like you didn't receive email 1 or missed it.
would this be like welcome or post purchase though? Or like welcome for new customers?
That's welcome for new customers. Like, there's the first one, which, like, shows you our, like, actual bestsellers, and then there's a
Mhm.
second one. Um, I'd have to dig in and find where that exact one is, but you're missing a, like, first email in that second series.
Okay. So that would come like around the same time as this.
Yep. So
Got it.
technically, like, it's good feedback on that Yotpo email. Well, obviously the the header, which, like, I'm TBD on if I want you to remove this part or not. Um, that email is, like, separate from the way Yotpo works, like, their, like, method now, which I'm sure you are familiar with, is, like, you automatically are created as a customer in the account
Yes.
as, like, the seamless version. So technically, like, which even makes this email more necessary to link because you're in, but, like, you might never have logged in to, like, actually view your points and use them, even though you're, like, Yotpo considers you as part of the loyalty program if you ever choose to redeem. But
Okay.
you should have, so I need to look at the cadence in which that is sent versus the general brand welcome email, because I'm wondering if Smart Sending disabled you from receiving the first email in the welcome series, if it's prioritizing the Yotpo send. But yeah, the statistics show that way more people are receiving the first email of the welcome flow, which is why I might not have heard yet about this Yotpo one, or it's being buried. But I mean, thousands and thousands of people have received that. So,
Okay. Yeah, no, that all makes sense. And the fact is like with the Yotpo integration, like because you can already show me like how many points I have here, um, I don't know, like this is something that we've spoken to clients about, like the value of getting someone like into the portal where it's like they're already signed in. So like I'm of the mindset, just like as a customer, where it's like if
yep,
I'm already signed in, like I don't have to do anything else. Like if you can just give me that information in an email, like that's more ideal for me. And then obviously, like if there's other benefits I can get from the portal, I can go out there. But as an example, like when we talk about like that dynamic content, like because you're already accessing like how many points I have through the Oppo integration, that's where like right over here, like you can showcase like you have 25 points eligible to
yeah,
use. Cool. Okay, next up, on the 4th, got this email about the like pop color zip up hoodies. I don't have like the GIF here, wasn't able to save it, but there's a really, really good GIF, and you have like good GIFs in a bunch of places. So like I'm not surprised that that agency was not able to beat out your like email creative because creative is not like one of your problems at all. Like you are nailing the creative, you understand the brand voice like perfectly, and I don't think an agency is the right like move to take over that brand voice. And then on the design side, like I don't know if do you design these in Figma or Canva or
Sigma.
yeah, you're crushing it. Like design is not like your challenge at all. So these were all great, and like I genuinely like enjoyed like looking at these visuals. So yeah, on the 11th, received another email about the checkered pants being stocked, and then on the 15th, received a restock email about jerseys being back in stock. I didn't, this is where I basically called out because I noticed at this point I got a review request email on the 17th. And this is when I noticed I hadn't gotten an email that let me know that my order was actually delivered. And this is a big thing that like the thing is like it's the most important email in the world to not have. It's an important email to miss if your order like gets stolen or if like your order doesn't get delivered properly. That's when like you absolutely need it. I didn't like realize at the time that I didn't get it, because I just like saw that my order was there. So it wasn't a big deal. But we've had other situations like on LTV Lab where like someone's package got stolen and there was no order delivered notification. And like 2 weeks later, they just like were kind of at a
Say,
loss, you know? This could be a Canada thing, maybe like because of who shipped it. Not sure.
not sure. There should be delivery notifications turned on, but I mean, things break all the time. It's possible that it's not for the Canadian experience. I'm like looking into after this for you. I apologize.
Don't apologize. It happens, and I promise you, like Little Trouble, like did great throughout the customer life cycle. So yeah, we received this review request email on the 17th, and then on the 17th is when the Black Friday sale started. So this is something like this is purely the perspective of like generating over $50 million in email revenue and A/B testing all of this from a strategy perspective, like the revenue that you're able to generate when you can like build hype ahead of a new drop or ahead of a big sale compared to the revenue you generate when you just like drop it effectively out of nowhere is really it can be night and day for some brands where like when you're letting me know that the sale is live, if I've already internalized like the details, so like I know it's 25% off site wide, you let me know like it's starting on X day at this time. I should go like fill up my cart for what I want before it sells out at 25% off. And then like on the day of, I just get the email of the CTA to go shop and my cart's already ready. Like that can generate significant incremental revenue. So I did, and I remember like thinking that when I received this email, the other reason I specifically like thought this around Black Friday is because until I saw the CTA, which like isn't the most impactful part of this creative, I would say, I didn't even realize this was your Black Friday sale. So like I missed this when I initially got this email. I only saw it when I was like doing the review and dropping my sticky notes in before the episode. Um, and yeah, I'm just curious to know, Dinah, like I know that the like word Black Friday is being used. Have you ever had like a teaser strategy in the past? And also like how do you think about like the words Black Friday?
Yeah, this is all great feedback. I did choose this year for two reasons not to tease. One was that the sale was longer than I've ever done before. I did a 2-week sale. We had crazy growth goals for November and for Black Friday and really aggressive Google scaling goals. So we needed to
Okay.
give it room to scale and time this year. So I didn't want to tease it because it was so long. And I was intention was, whether it translated to everyone or not, intention was you would see it and then you'd have time to marinate over the sale, knowing I was not changing the offer, which in the emails I don't specify, which I am now like reflecting on retrospectively. I did on my socials. I went live several times, did like stories, reels, etc., where I kind of laid out the sale's not changing. You have time to like think about what you want, but we are dropping new stuff throughout the sale and we will sell out of stuff throughout the sale. But as we've spoken about a lot of my email list now, there's over 350,000 people. Like they're not all my organic diehards on social.
Yeah.
So they don't all have that context. But in my intention, that was why. And we were also having really solid days leading up to the 17th. And teasing the
Okay.
sale would have hindered those
For
solid
sure.
full price days. So we had a like, if we need to, we're gonna tease that the sale is coming, but we didn't have to because we had some strong product drops leading up to the 17th, and we were hoping
Okay.
to sell through some of that new product before the Black Friday sale. So that was, like, intention behind not teasing it. Um, Also very good feedback on the subject line and not knowing it was Black Friday, and obviously the 25% off site wide is the, like, focal point. I intentionally, was hoping that, or at least my intention was that this would not be jumbled in. I was already receiving so many Black Friday emails since, like, November
Yes.
1.
Probably a lot from our clients, so I apologize.
No, no, it's okay. So I was just like, I wonder if it's better to not say the words in the subject line until Black Friday day and Cyber Monday day when you're just like, it's what you're looking for. Those are your intentions. Um,
Right.
so that was the strategy behind it, whether it was effective to everyone, great feedback.
Yeah, and that's just like my unique customer perspective, which is why I love LTV Lab. But like when I was going through November and similar to you from November 1st, like was seeing the words Black Friday over and over and over again. I think like I associate as a customer like Black Friday messaging with like this is your best deal like of the year. And that's where like when I started seeing your emails come in with like 25% off site wide, but not like specifically talking to Black Friday, my like thought process was like, oh, like, is there going to be a better,
Yeah.
like, is this not the Black Friday sale? And there's going to be a
Yep.
better Black Friday sale. And I think what you mentioned is really important for like others who are listening to take note of, which is like you talked about certain things like elements of the sale, like the duration and other info on socials. And whether it's because like people aren't following you on social or even just like the algorithms are not as friendly to like follower counts as they used to be. Like there's just a lot of people who are not going to see what you're posting on social. And this is where like email as a channel, like I think a lot of the strategy like within your email marketing, which is very like similar and on par with a lot of fashion brands, is what I would boil down to like school of thought, I guess, which is like email is like a channel for like merchandising in the inbox. So it's like let's just like let people know about like products with like a shop now button and an offer essentially, but it's not a channel for the things that we're going to look to organic social or like maybe even paid ads for in terms of like more marketing information. And I think what you said is 100% true, which is like at this point, because you have so many people on the list who might not be seeing that content, if you think it's content that's valuable for someone to see on social, like why would it not be valuable for that person who might not see it on social to not see it at all in their email or SMS, as an example?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes total sense.
Um, the other thing here is like offer clarity. So this is something that like we just like live and die by because we've A/B tested so much. But like my like questions here as a customer is like number one, like is there code required that like I need or not? And then like the spend 150, spend 250, it's like such a small detail, but just like adding like a plus here, I think like 25% off site wide, like plus like if you spend 150, you'll get a free water ball. If you spend 250, you'll get a free mom tote. I know you guys crushed BFCM like you said, so I don't imagine that this like was that confusing to other people. But like one of the biggest things I've learned through all our testing is like if a 4-year-old is gonna have a question about it, like try and make it as clear as possible. And then the other thing here is like because I hadn't been around the brand for too long, maybe your like diehard customers like know about this, but like I have no idea what like the water bottle you guys sell looks like or like the free mom tote. And I think like when you have a spend X, like get Y type of offer, it's just important, at least it would be for me as a customer, to like assign some value to what you're giving away. And whether that's just like a picture so I can see it and be like, oh, that looks cool. Like I want that. Or like get a free water bottle valued at $25 made of like titanium, like whatever it is. That like additional value would be what I would want to see here, essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. On the 19th, we got site-wide sale plus free gift. So again, like same template, basically just a resend on the 19th. And then on the 20th, another send over here. Just a note, and this is something that like we actually learned through like BFCM November 2024 and then applied in 2025 is like typically we see more engagement when we just like change up the email like hero section and angle and copy versus just like doing effectively like a resend and just like swapping out an image. So it would be something like, and honestly, what I have been saying more and more is like, because brands rely on BFCM November and December too, like for so much of their revenue throughout the year, like these are the types of things that can be tested during like smaller moments. So if you have like a 4th of July sale, if you have like a Memorial Day sale, testing out these different strategies to see if there is any incremental lift and what that looks like, so that when you come to like the biggest sales of the year, you have your strategies and like insights in terms of incremental dialed in at this point. But obviously, like it's a lot more resources to do this. So like I gave you all the credit in the world at the beginning of the episode of doing like everything on your own. And yeah, like I get it. Cool. And then on the 22nd, got this email with the subject line: totes and water bottles are 25%
Oh,
off.
this email. Yeah.
Yeah, just like
Yeah.
in the throes of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
this
can
one
gloss
has
over it.
export issue. I knew this would be in this. Yeah, this one has an export issue, where those white lines shouldn't exist. So that's like mega confusing because you're like, what's the price? Two are crossed out. Yeah, that's a Figma export problem and agreed. Yeah, this is one of those situations where it doesn't connect to social. So on social, the overwhelming feedback was, "Oh my God, I want the tote. I want the tote. Can I just buy the tote?"
Okay.
And so I launched the totes available for purchase in addition to for the free gifts. And so to the person waiting for it to come,
Yeah.
the subject line was speaking to them and like once I saw the white lines export problem out of Figma and then realized that like the email audience doesn't know people want to buy the tote. Yeah, this was the biggest disconnect of my whole Black Friday sale was this email. But it still converted so well. I was like, no one reads.
Yeah. Literally, like if it wasn't for this episode, I probably would not have noticed. So do not
Yeah.
overthink it, and you still crush BFCM. Um, yeah,
Totally,
cool.
totally feel
Okay,
you on this one.
yeah. Okay, on the 24th, Sweatpants just dropped. Anyone listening to this who did not incorporate something like this, like especially if you're in apparel, over BFCM, there's literally nothing more impactful you can do, like at this point in the shopping season, than dropping new product. So it's like, I don't know if this was something that like you had learned previously or just like went for it this year, but really good idea to launch at this point. Um, was that something that you did for the first time or no?
Yes, we did it for the first time, and I dropped 6 new products during Black Friday,
Okay.
those 2 weeks, so that all went into, like, "Okay, I'm game to run a 2-week sale," which I've never done and wouldn't have thought I would do, but I'm gonna drop new products the whole time so that there's, like, reasons for people to keep coming back.
Exactly. Yeah, you just nailed like the ideal strategy for BFCM, like give people a reason to continue opening your emails. And that's basically like the same reason like we see more engagement when like content is different, but way more valuable and important than content is merchandising and offers. So like just yeah, really well done there. I noticed at this point that like you stopped talking about the free tote. Is that because it sold out or you ran out?
No. The only reason I eliminated the tote at a certain point, and then I think I reintroduced it one more time, is just because from the heat mapping on the site, no one was doing any digging. And so I just ended up like clipping the bottom of the emails because no one in my instinct was going through the emails. But they could have stayed there. It was just the water bottle was the shining star of the sale, and that was like the driver. And once the totes were for sale, people were buying them. I think uh insight for me for next year was that I had a great November leading up to Black Friday, dropping all of my products, which was why I didn't tease the sale, and then dropping new products was very beneficial during the sale, but that 250 is more than double my AOV, and that was hard for people to latch on to. So that's why they wanted to buy the tote. And so I started realizing like the value prop was really the water bottle at 150 and the 250 tote was now becoming a purchased add-on rather than like going for the thresholds.
Got it. Okay, yeah. I think like 2x AOV is definitely like an ambitious
Yeah.
goal. Um, yeah, like usually we try and set it around like 20-25% above AOV. But I think like in practice, like a lot of useful insights came out of this for you. And even just
Could
the
have
fact that
kept
like
it,
people,
but yeah, I was like, they're going for the water bottle and they're buying the tote,
yeah.
so it didn't seem like a value add in the emails. It kind of felt like extra digestion
Mhm.
wasn't benefiting anyone.
Yeah, we're the biggest fans of just like focus. Like if you can eliminate something and focus on something else, you're better off. So I think that's the right play. The only call out I had around like the newness here is just that like I think the emails as a customer, like I would have liked to see like more of the product. So like the uh products that like being launched, just like getting a little more attention in terms of like different styling, like a flat lay shot, um, outside of like just one image, let's say, um, like where I kind of have to go to the site to see more, as an example. But other than that, like I think these were really strong. On the 30th, you had this like semi plain text email. Curious to know if you've A/B tested like pure plain text versus like this format with the logo and the button.
Yeah, I thought about doing a pure plain text this year, and this was already slotted as that, but I received so many pure plain text
Mm.
emails in like that day and the day before that I was like, maybe I should just like make sure the logo is there. This was like kind of an audible. Um, but next year, we'll probably A/B test this versus the plain text or leading up to the sale A/B test it, so that it was recognizable. The only reason I went this route, which should have A/B tested it, it was kind of like an audible at the time, was I didn't want it to get stuck in the shuffle, and I got so many fake founder emails, I felt, plain text ones where like the brand clearly doesn't have like the person who signed the email as
Oh,
an
yeah.
obvious founder of the brand. And I received so many that were like, "Hi, Dinah, we normally don't do this, but blah, 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 blah." And I was like, I don't want it to feel icky.
Yeah.
So I went this direction. Whether it was the right decision or not, I'm not sure, but I didn't want it to feel like gimmicky.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And honestly, I do feel like I got more of them this year compared
So
to
many.
previous years. Yeah, I also got a bunch. I don't know if you saw these, but I got a bunch of like fake forwarded emails. So like
Yeah,
someone like forwarding an
internal.
email. Yeah, yeah. And like that just like I'm like, don't treat me like I'm an idiot.
Yeah. And the like
Here though, the only
fraud inside where you're like,
yeah, that's the worst. Yeah.
like, what?
The absolute only reason why I bring up the pure plain text, in an ideal world, like more branding the better, is just like deliverability is not sexy, but like if you do have a pure plain text, it will usually yield higher open rates and higher click rates. So that's the only reason why I brought it up.
No, I know. I should have
Cool.
even tested it. I don't know why I just like crisis. So I just like averted what I kept seeing in my inbox that day. That's the only problem
Yeah,
when it's you making the decision. Sometimes I'm like, I didn't like the email I just got. So then I like change course.
for sure. Cool. And then just got like a few final emails like of the sale, and that kind of brought us to like day 30 after our purchase. Now, I just want to quickly, Donna, I'm not going to go over all of this in detail, but you'll see like it's kind of broken down at the high level. We put together like this prescription in terms of like what we loved from the experience and then like what could have potentially been done to get us to place a second order. So like starting with what we loved, the website shopping experience was extremely smooth and like may have preferred a drawer versus a cart, but you already explained that is the typical process. Everything about the product plus stickers received was just like a really great experience. So seriously, if anyone's watching this and has kids that they want to look extremely cool, go buy from Little Trouble. Like the product is incredible. And then finally, like how cute all of the images showed were across your emails. Like I probably didn't mention this anywhere or enough. But like the model shots you get, like I don't even understand how you get children to like give you the looks that you need here, but you do, and I'm thankful for it because they're so adorable. Like I will never unsubscribe from your emails for that number, like that's the whole reason. Um, Okay, cool. Now, what could have been done to place to get us to get us to place a second order? So number one, I would just say like cross-selling like closer to the first purchase. And I think like it is a unique period of shopping, like when this was conducted, just because obviously like I'm assuming there were more emails sent than you typically send. And the like structure of the emails, the content is different than what you would normally send. So we did receive like a lot of product emails, but I think like I said, right after someone gets out their wallet to place their order, especially in apparel, like before they get their package, that first order, there's a short window of time where we can drive a lot of incremental conversions. So yeah, I would just like push for cross selling like immediately after. I would say like stronger communication around the loyalty program, like which could be paired with like a strong incentive for a second purchase. So like 2x points, and then ongoing reminders about like how many loyalty points I have in campaigns. So I don't know if that necessarily like, do you happen to know? I don't know if you checked the data. Do you happen to know like what the redemption rate was of points like during PFCM?
None because you couldn't stack.
Okay, got it.
Yeah,
Interesting.
but
Hmm.
now there's a higher like going in post BFCM. So like I'll evaluate on like the 15th of this month all the redemptions because they earned during Black Friday,
Right.
but no redemptions during Black Friday.
Okay, got it. So yeah, even more reason I would say to just like subtly remind people in evergreen content of the points that they have.
Yeah.
I would just say like other content paired with the BFCM offer that would give me a reason to spend money outside of the fact that I'd just be saving. So again, like this was a huge learning like for our clients from 2024 and 2023, like that we took into this year, which is just like instead of basically just repeating like 25% off, 25% off, 25% off, like this is a little different for apparel, but like we know based on our data, it still works. Like when you give someone a reason to shop, we typically see like stronger engagement and conversion. So like what that could have been, like for me, just like off the top of my head that I was thinking of, was like building your child's winter capsule in one go. So like show a complete outfit system, tops, bottom, outerwear, like available now and discounted only during BFCM, like last chance to buy before sizes sell out for the season. So like just incorporating some urgency, which I think you said you did on social, but like I didn't see an email to basically get me to go purchase before something went out of stock. Like gifting made easy. So like curated holiday sets, like only available this weekend, or just like here's our top picks for like gifts for your nieces and nephews, whatever it is, um, during like BFCM to go shop on sale. Like your kiddo's growing fast, update their closet all at once. So like just lean into like natural growth cycle. If you've bought during the year and now your kid has like gone up a size, time to like refresh the wardrobe. Exclusive early access to new arrivals. This is where um, I did not receive SMS messages during the sale. Did you send out SMS?
Yeah, every other day.
Okay,
And
interesting. I'm gonna
and
check a. Sorry,
we send I text Canada.
I'm
You're
gonna check again.
check your email too after this email so we can after this recording so I can get to the bottom of your pop-up
I'm
issue.
gonna check right here. Let's actually see.
Yeah, SMS was actually strong during the sale. I alternated email, SMS, email, SMS.
I promise I'm not lying. I don't know if you could see, but there's nothing when I search Little Trouble.
How crazy.
Um, so that's strange, but like it is a really good opportunity though, like to leverage the email list to convert into SMS subscribers. And again, like we're very conscious of like all of the ROI for all the brands that we work with. So like we're not trying to send SMS all the time. But for that 100% open rate, like when you're launching that BFCM sale, like if you can give early access to that SMS list, that goes a really, really long way in terms of like pure incremental revenue. Like sibling sets. So even like for me personally, like I have two nephews, like one that's 1.5 and one that's 4. And if there was like a sibling set, just like getting like all sizes in stock for VFCM, whatever, that just showed like two siblings together wearing the same clothes, like that probably would have got me to buy. Where it's like, and by the way, it's 25% off versus just like another shop 25% off. Shop intentionally, like most durable, hand-me-down worthy pieces, et cetera, et cetera. So that's like the type of content that personally like would have resonated with me. Then the last thing here, and this is where like nurturing post purchase in apparel is uh like this is where focus should be based on all of our experience. You have a pretty big product catalog. So like what I bought was like a pair of pants, but you also sell like t-shirts, long sleeves, shorts, button-ups, mechanic suits, rompers, like backpacks, you sell snapback hats, bucket hats, you have baby clothes, you have adult clothes, et cetera, et cetera. If we look at like all of the emails I received, and again, like this is a like specific period of the year, so maybe this wouldn't have looked exactly like this, but like it doesn't look like it's possible I didn't receive other post purchase emails you had. But if we look through the emails I have, like I don't know about any of these things really. So it's like I would have seen at some point, like, okay, you have a long sleeve shirt over here. But in terms of like dedicated post purchase, like education, just letting me know, but like, hey, if you're loving the pants that you bought, by the way, like we have 5,000 like 5-star reviews on our overalls. Or like, here's our best selling mechanic suits. Like, just like a really common um, pattern that like we see as we're going through LTV Lab episodes is brands and especially like founders who are so close to everything, like everything becomes obvious. So it's like, like, of course we have a checkered collection. Like, of course we have our flame shorts. But, and like, of course, like it's on the website. And if you like go through all our bestsellers and like go through our menu that like you've put so much time into curating, like you can see it and you can find it. But in reality, like that's not how I shop and it's not how a lot of people shop. And like we just need to be really intentional about putting things right in front of people so that like they can't not know about it, if that makes sense.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. That's all I had on my end, Dinah. I really appreciate the time. I think like this was a really fun customer journey to go through. It was definitely the cutest one that we've gone through.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was such awesome feedback and a lot of good things for me to dig into. For sure, the cadence of emails and the nurturing is like the biggest focus for us going into the end of this year and next year. Yeah, we acquired over 8,000 new customers during Black Friday, which is a massive milestone for us. So we have like it's the perfect time to implement a lot of these things. And obviously play some cleanup. It's always interesting to like have these types of conversations because I've had my emails audited by many people because a lot of agencies have been like gunning for the email business. And I've never had someone tell me about a Yotpo loyalty email issue. So, and I obviously haven't received that email in years since I
Sure.
onboarded the loyalty program. So it's always so great to like learn from different people's experiences. And yeah, I appreciate you doing such a deep dive of the brand.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for coming on LTV Lab, and we'll see everyone in the next one.